Hi everyone! In this video, I will walk you through how to use the bulk API in Elasticsearch. Let me show you an example of how the bulk API works. Normally, if you have an index and want to add a new document, you would perform the index operation. Here I have two documents, and I will perform the index operation for each one of them. You might also update or delete documents along the way. Each of these operations requires a separate API call, which means the more operations you perform, the more API calls are made. This can become inefficient when dealing with a large number of operations. That's where the bulk API comes in. Instead of making multiple individual requests, you can bundle all operations into a single API call, significantly improving processing speed and reducing overhead. Let's take a look at the syntax for the bulk API. When using it, you alternate between specifying the action to be performed and providing the corresponding source. Okay, so as you can see, this is a process where you alternate between the action and the source. The available actions include indexing, creating, updating, and deleting documents. However, not all actions require a source. Only the update, index, and create actions need one. Now that we have covered the theory, let's look at a practical example of using the bulk API in Python. First, you will use the client to access the bulk method. Inside this method, you will pass a list of operations where we alternate between actions and sources. The first action we will perform is index, which requires a source, so we provide it right after the action. Next is the delete action, which does not need a source, so we move on. Then we use the create action followed by its source. Finally, we have the update action along with its corresponding source. As you can see, the syntax is straightforward. Just alternate between actions and sources, remembering that some actions require a source while others don't. For more details, you can click this link to access the official bulk API documentation. Now let's go to the notebook to see how to apply the bulk API. Make sure to open the 11th notebook in this series. Let me remind you, if you don't have access to these notebooks, please go to the video description. There you will find a link that will take you to GitHub, and feel free to download the GitHub repository. There you will find everything. First, please make sure that Elasticsearch is running. To make sure that everything is working, just run this cell and here it should say connected to Elasticsearch. After that, here I will show you two sections. The first one, I will try to perform some actions without using the bulk API. And in the second part, I will show you how to transform these actions by using the bulk API. Okay, so let's start. First of all, we have this dummy data JSON file. Inside it, we have 3 documents. So we will be performing the index operation 3 times. After that, I will update 2 documents. I will update the first one by modifying the title field to have this new value. And I will modify the second document by adding a new field to it. Finally, I will delete the third document. In total, we have performed 6 operations, and each one of those operations require an API call. This approach is slow and inefficient, especially if we are dealing with very large number of documents. So this is how to do this without the bulk API. But let's see how to transform everything with this API. I'll make sure to recreate the index, and here, as you can see, so first of all, we have the first action, which is index. You can see that here I am using my index, and here I am specifying an ID. After that, I am taking, basically, if I go to dummy data, you can see that I took the first document and I specified it as the source, because remember, the index method requires a source. I do the same thing for the other documents. Just make sure that the ID is unique. So here I will try to index the second document. That's why I gave it ID equal to 2. And here is the source. Finally, I am indexing the third document in the third action. After that, we will update two documents. First, I will update the first document by changing the title to a new title. And for the second document, I will add a new field with this value. Finally, here this should say action 6. I will just delete the third document. If I run this, you can see that we have a key which is called errors. If this value is false, it means that the bulk API was able to perform all those actions with no problems. But if you get true, this means that some or all the actions did not perform successfully. And here it gives you how much it took in milliseconds. And if you want to read more, you can look at the operations. Okay, so here it says created. Good, so we created the first document. The same for the second and third documents. And here we have the update documents. So here it says updated with status equals to 200. And finally, we have deleted. This just confirms that the bulk API was able to perform all the operations successfully. We arrived at the end of this video. I hope that it was helpful. Please, before leaving, leave a like on this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want. See you next time.